Welcome to our tub. Come on in. It's warm inside, and there's always room for more.
This podcast contains adult material and is intended for mature audiences only. If you're under 18, grab your rubber ducky and find another tub. This one's not for you.
Hello and welcome back in the tub for episode 133. I'm Mr. Berg.
And I'm Mrs. Berg.
And on this week's episode, we have a full-length interview with a very special guest. We really learned a lot and had a great conversation. Very interesting, unique gentleman. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Okay. And we want to thank Lady Spicer for reaching out to us. So our guest is in the kink and fetish world. A long career in the sex work industry. Started, back, believe it or not, like before there was OnlyFans and all the other content creator platforms. Himself, as he says, really doesn't kind of see himself as a content creator. Really isn't. And in the kink and fetish world, he is a FinDom. Focuses on financial domination. Does really have a large portfolio of other things. But we talked more definitely on the FinDom to really kind of understand that. And the professional, correct, ethical ways of doing it.
Yeah, I think that's the right wording.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot out there. It is starting to grow. And just what he does, again, is very interesting, very unique from every aspect of it. So really, it was a phenomenal time, a phenomenal conversation. So pretty much that is this week's episode. You can catch us on our social medias. Berg Couple for Fun on Twitter and Instagram. The Bergs on Facebook and Reddit. Pretty much, we're going to hop into that interview and then close out the show. So as we wind down, as this launches, we're coming into the Labor Day holiday weekend and end of summer, technically. School's back in, so take the last couple weeks or hopefully another 6 or 8 weeks of nice weather to enjoy some time outdoors.
Take forget care where we are.
Yeah. It cooled off last week, and now this week is going to be in the 90s. I'm hitting the road for a work trip. I got to go to a baseball game tomorrow, and they're saying it's going to be a high in the mid 90s. So it's going to be real fun. Sit at a baseball game tomorrow.
A little swamp ass.
Yeah. It's a work function. It's some of the things we do. Little baseball game in Cleveland. So, it'll be fun. They're at least a better team than the Pirates. So, it is what it is. But again, be safe over the holiday weekend. Hope everybody's able to spend time with friends, family, and loved ones for the holiday to wind down the end of the summer.
And on that note.
Yeah, and on that note, remember to wrap it before you tap it, lick it before you stick it, and until next time,
we'll keep the lights on and the tub warm for you.
All right, welcome back in the tub as we are joined by a special guest today, we're going to dig into the new and interesting topic for us. As we've discussed previously, the growing acceptance of the fetish and kink world and the likeness to the non-monogamous world with the numerous and never-ending growth of the web that they both hold. There is something for everyone and everyone's needs. Our guest was one of the first to monetize the fetish we are going to discuss online, beginning his work over 20 years ago. His work as a FinDom, or financial domination, has opened doors not just for himself, but for many others seeking the need to sub and use his services. Please take a minute and welcome Master Arch into the tub. Good evening. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you again for taking some time. And as we talked a little bit before we started this recording, really discussing, as we just said, FinDom and the growth and acceptance of kink and fetish in general, almost. And as well within the non-monogamous world. We've talked in the past when we started in the swingers, quote-unquote, world 15 plus years ago, fetish and kink was definitely something that was hidden behind 3 locked doors.
Yeah, kink and swinging don't mix. The swingers don't like BDSM because they consider it wife beating, and the BDSM people don't like the risks that the swingers take with sexual partners.
Exactly what you're totally right. And we've talked to people within that BDSM lifestyle, and they're like, well, swingers will just fuck anything. So, yeah, like you're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, they don't like the risk profile involved, and it just that you can't really change someone's attitude past that. I think that it's weird that you don't meet more kinky swingers that have kind of like taken the stance of saying like we're here and we're gonna be taken more seriously, because it's like it's one or the other. Like it's very clear boundary between the two.
Yes, without a doubt. It is starting to be a little bit more accepted, but still nowhere near what it should be. Essentially, it's all about sexual positivity and openness and feeling good and having your needs met at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think too, when I go into swinger spaces with the knowledge that I have about BDSM, education is essential, because I really like talking to people about what I do. I like talking to people about how it all pans itself out, how there's a bigger story about just really being accepting of who you are with yourself and finding those connections of people that really understand and get you within the world. You know, whatever that looks like and whatever that feels like, you know, that level of connection is what we're all after in the long run. So,
yeah, it's about, again, having your needs met. That's why, you know, yes, non-monogamy and swingers, and now fetish and kink, as we delve more into it. You know, as I said in the intro, the web, it literally is like a spider web, and there is something essentially for everyone, whether you're a foot person, whether you're an oral person, whether, you know, it's pain, whether it's, you know, domination in whatever way that may be, or there's something.
Well, it really takes a certain type of personality to be able to specifically say what it is that turns them on, you know, and to have that received by their partner, by their other complete half that fills that in them. Like, that's so beautiful when that happens, whatever it is and however it expresses itself. as a slut, as a kinky person, as a whoever, removing the the shame, the stigma around whatever it is that we're doing, and just, finding, I don't know, I guess trauma bonding with other people that have the same level of shame to be able to, want to do that with you, I guess.
To recognize, and as you said, as to be able to have the, hey, I think I might be into this, and I think people as well grow over, and those things can change. We've shared a story in the past where when we first got into it, and we had some friends that were kind of into impact play and that type of BDSM, and it was always a hard no, we're not going there, we're not crossing that line. Well, we have since, over the years, we now own a flogger.
There you go.
Mrs. is like the impact play thing. Now,
to an extent.
She takes about 4 minutes, and she's like, "Let's get to it. Start pounding me." Like, let's get to the sex. We have interviewed and talked with a shibari master, and did some shibari. She was tied and suspended, and she went, "Holy shit! Never 15 years ago would I have even thought about this. Wow." It was intense. So you can grow to that as well.
You can. I cut my teeth and do lots of my work in the gay male population, and they don't really have that intrepidness about them. So I've always kind of gone things full hilt, like just all the way and extreme, and if you like me, and if you don't, fuck you. Like, it just kind of
cool. Yeah.
Like, I have time to listen to the criticism for what it is that I am doing at that exact moment. I play for myself. I play my own way, and like doing these things like FinDom, like the extreme BDSM that I've done in the past, like it's so radical. My sex work is radicalized. Everything is just so different than the norm. And I really like having a place to kind of do that,
And that's you, yeah. Having a place that you can escape and do that for yourself. So, as you said, FinDom and that. Rewind a bit. You've been doing this for 20 plus years.
I've been doing sex work for 20 plus years.
Okay.
Financial domination is where the core of my experience and living money and, that part of my life. Like, it's not my only job, but it just like that part of my life was set for a very long time because I got on to doing it before anybody had ever heard of it. Nobody, it was radical concept to sell a pair of your socks as a man to another man, or like bathwater, or ignoring somebody, or even doing BDSM, physical BDSM with a straight man and a gay man, and there not being any sex happening within the scene at all. Because I got off more on just the complete denial and ego reduction of men. Like, I love making men cry. I love bringing men to that place of just, you are nothing now. That is where we're starting. That is where we begin. You are nothing. Build yourself from here. You may be something on the outside world that means something to a lot of people, but here, it's so different, But, and I've always spoken a lot more to the emotional masochist than the physical masochist. I mean, I speak to the physical masochist too, but the emotional masochist, I've really kind of hit that niche pretty hard.
And I would think, again, you hear when you talk about this, the fetish kink world, immediately people go to the physical. That's what it is. It is, whether, again, it's rope, it's impact play, it's knife play, it's whatever it is.
But it can all be applied to every different part of BDSM. When you think about FinDom, you can think about the bondage as debt. Debt will be your bondage for this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You are bound by it, you are constrained by it until you free yourself from it.
Yeah. And that could be physical in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it's very physical. When you get your credit card bill and you have to look at what you just spent, I mean, that's quite real.
Yeah.
There's no way about that. You still have to call them and make that payment.
Yeah.
You can't call them and be like, so hypothetically, this was kind of a hypothetical, no, they don't, it just, the world goes on, but it just, since money is power and money is, everything to everybody, it's a tool of control in a lot of these relationships. And it's very weird now with OnlyFans, because with the influx of OnlyFans, I'll say guys, I'm not going to say masters, because everybody's a god, an alpha, a master, or whatever, but these guys, it's just the entitlement and zero real-time BDSM experience at all. And just we're in just such a vacuum of Twitter, in this small little part of Twitter, that we're all talking about the same thing, and we're all discussing the same thing, and we're all promoting ourselves the same way. And it's so weird how it's all evolved. And it's bigger than me.
Yeah, it really has changed drastically. I mean, and we hate to always say, wow, unfortunately the pandemic changed the sex work world so much when it comes to the OnlyFans, the StreamMate, the cam sites themselves. So prior to that, how did you go about what it is in the FinDom world and what you're doing? Where were the avenues?
We used PayPal until we were shut down, and I don't know what to say. Yahoo groups. Really just, again, not being a revolutionary, being someone who's not afraid to be on gay sites, to say that here's what I offer and here's what I bring to the table, because you're all talking about it anyway. So I'm just kind of put my on the table and just set it on, and just kind of, that's what I've always had to offer, is just, look, I provide an experience that I'm going to be real crystal clear with my intent over the really fucked up shit that I'm into, and meet other people that are also male-bodied that I want to do that really fucked up shit with. And I don't really want to involve sex in any of it. And I have that right.
Sure.
So I think that is what most people have had the biggest problem with me, is that at least if I was having sex with these guys, they could kind of justify that, oh, it's just that, so I don't know. It's been a very strong lesson in breaking what people think is the norm and reinventing that over and over and over and over and over and over again,
And you used the word stigma earlier, so, and that is absolutely right. The fetish and kink world, it's about breaking the stigma and breaking the bonds and the walls that have always been there, because when you look at a scene, even if it's impact play, there are a lot of those scenes that do not involve sexual intercourse.
Right.
And so from that, I'm not sure that people really understand if they're not right there, right in it.
Well, it's you can explain it to them by telling them that it's a heightened sense of sensation.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. I mean, and, that heightened sense of sensation can easily go to your genitals and keep you aroused for way longer than, one should be aroused. But, playing within that aroused state and playing within that suggestive place and playing within that, just understanding that this feels good. Like, it's okay to be, doing this stuff.
It's some people it's just essentially a different type of orgasm than people are used to. They think, all right, hey, you're going to have sex, you're going to bust a nut, and hey, we're going to wipe it down, and we're going to turn around and we're done. But yes, when you get into this, it is it is more, I think, mental.
Well, it has been likened to hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have stated that subspace is trance space. Just a lot of the stuff that we do is rooted in just suggestive thinking. And, so it just acknowledging that you do really have power over the people that you play with. If you're getting into that space, you have to invest yourself. You have to, be present for that, because otherwise you're not going to be doing the things that you want to be doing within any dynamic.
Yeah, essentially not having the outcome that you want to have as the dom, or that the sub is looking to have as well.
Right. And again, the power exchange of the two, I mean, being able to listen to what it is as a professional, listen to what it is that the sub needs, and being like, okay, well, this amount of time that you're requiring is going to require this level of reimbursement. It just,
sure.
It has to be, with these guys, it just has to be that way. Because the times suck. That
I'm in sales. Time is money.
Yeah.
I mean, my day job is sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
Sales is all there is, and it just, when you monetize yourself, when you're able to make you the product, make you the commodity, make you there's only so much you to go around. So how do you assess how much time is worth that? How much time of, it's at least with sales, you have clear definition over how much the product costs and what your commission will be, but when you're in sex work, it's how do you sell a foot pick? What do you price a foot pick at? What's it going, check the stock pages. What's the going price for a foot pick? Talk foot today? Cool. Sweet. Talk with foot. Damn, that one's doing real well too. It's fuck, dude. That's what it feels like on Twitter. That's exactly what it feels like on FinDom Twitter, because it just, the level of just the divergence of just different types of FinDom and different types of toxic masculinity and different types of just bandwagon jumping. It's such a, just be different.
And again, as you said, there's no Kelly Blue Book website for what is this? What's the going rate? So, at that point, that's where it's, hey, this is what I'm involved. This is my worth. You have to have your own worth.
Well, and I think you were asking earlier, that's where it started too, again, past the point of financial domination. I was making content that just nobody had seen before. Just because I saw the need for it, and I was just fuck, dude, I look good doing that. I'll fucking do that, and I kind of wanted to explore that anyway. So, but again, there was no OnlyFans. There was no place to take it to give someone the opportunity to subscribe to it. You had to go through your Skype list, who were people that had bought from you before. It was done so differently back then. There's direct marketing was truly you marketing yourself. Twitter wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So, for me, real-time interactions that really spoke for themselves and really made an impact on people's lives, I would always get references from those people, and I would always get photos of the stuff that we were doing to kind of prove to myself, yeah, dude, we were doing this, and it really, there was nothing like it. It felt like, and it was such isolation from the real world, because like none of my friends could comprehend how I was doing things for that long, like they just, I just guy.
Well, and I can see too, like when you're back, even now, but that is, you hate to say it's underground, but that literally was the underground back then. Yes, you said you had Yahoo message boards, maybe AOL message boards, but what else really was there? You had, some
Craigslist.
Yeah, Craigslist wasn't even around back then. That was the times of MySpace.
And but that's the thing too, explaining how what I was doing was so there's no way to explain it.
Yeah.
There was no way to you couldn't put in an ad on Craigslist looking for a cash slave. Oh yeah, looking for a guy to come clean my house and pay for it. Because I know they exist. Because I'm online in this little part of Yahoo where all these guys are telling me if they live closer, they'd be paying to clean my house. So where's the local guy that does that? Doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not in the city paper. You're not posting those in the wanted ads.
And if you were going to BDSM meetings and munches and stuff, you were not looking for clients. You were not they were not cool with people looking for clientele at munches. That is bad etiquette as a professional.
Yeah.
You stand as a figurehead to the community more than anything. That's my personal opinion, but I've always been treated like shit within that parameter.
Sure.
Where I started, because they were just well, you're a pro, you're obviously looking, and it's no, I'm not. And, you don't generally go into leather bars and stuff either, soliciting people and telling people that they have to pay you for your time.
And
I know that firsthand. I've been in a lot of situations where I can just look into the eyes of the person right across from me. Porn theaters, bathhouses, parties where I looked at that person and them talking, telling me what that would be really hot if I did whatever, the fuck you pay me that I had just ready to fucking go, that I could not say a word because then they could run down and fucking get me on solicitation.
Yeah, now because in that essence, now you're walking that fine line in public.
It makes me so mad that I can't just say that.
Mm-hmm.
In the real world. But I guess that's the difference in the real world situations I put myself in and in business situations, because it just
Well, but even going back to interview with Lorenzo and Casey, I mean, there are states and stuff that
play, yeah.
If you're caught with your spouse in your own home,
technically you can be arrested for it. Yeah, when it comes to that, it's still so vague when it comes to the sexual world and acceptance.
Well, and the legislation around it isn't getting any easier.
No, not at all.
For sex workers, for people involved in any type of degeneracy or deviancy, I think it's going to be hard. But swingers are cockroaches, dude. They survive. There's places they know where they can go to be who they want. It's not that's too much at risk. Like I said, just go to fucking Jamaica, go to Hito, it just, there's places for all that. But I think for BDSM, especially stuff like FinDom, there has to be people that are talking to the mental health community, talking to people directly destigmatizing what this is and what this isn't. Like, again, these Twitter live spaces are great, but there is nobody speaking on terms of legality. There is nobody talking in terms of like any type of, it's pontification. It's a lot of pontification, and we got to make an impact in the spaces we share, and we got to bring in our knowledge, and we got to bring in our, experience, because it really, some of these, it gets to be lawless, and everybody thinking they know the best way to do something. And it's like, okay.
And yeah, you're right. Everybody has their way, but the reality is, to get to a true answer, it needs to be bits and pieces from everyone, and let's build something that truly makes sense for the masses.
Well, and it just to give, again, a light to a very dark place, because it's like, once you get into FinDom Twitter, like, it just, entitlement is the snowflake on the top of the iceberg of toxicity that just takes you all the way down, even below the surface, because it gets toxic fast, really, really fast, and really, like, rooted in, like, addiction and, relapse, and just words that trigger people into spending money with Dom, with their Dome, and it just, how do you go about ethically saying these things or doing these things? And if you own it, and you're somebody who, wants to give somebody an experience based on feelings like I do, if you're willing to identify what the feelings are that we're trying to go for, if you want to feel persecuted, you want to feel oppressed, you want to feel put upon, you want to feel, those are all subsets that most people don't know are available to them, but they carry that so readily on their heart and sleeve. Like, it's so amazing how neurotic people are, in fear that they're gonna upset the balance and somehow be persecuted for that. But there are people that run toward that, and once you open that door and say, hey, this is available to fetishize, this is available to get this limited experience, people are just lining up for that. And it was just like, what are we doing, like, as a society that allows for the monetization of stuff like this? This is so radical that, like, therapists aren't doing this, and other sex workers aren't doing it in the same way. It just, where's the place for it? How do I, reconcile that? What do I become to be legitimate in what I do? Or do I just walk away and say, I did it this way for a long time, I don't do it anymore, and here's my story, And
it's, I don't know, is it kind of where the world is gone? So it's always been shunned. Now we're in a world where, as you said earlier, entitlement. Everybody is entitled. Don't make anybody upset. Give them what they want. Well, these people want, a sub that is coming to you essentially wants this, wants to be broken down, in one way or another. However, it's done for them. But the general population is like, well, you can't do that. You can't make people feel bad. You got to love everybody. You got to be nice to everybody. But if that is what you need mentally, that's what you're looking for, then why not?
But if treating them in this way, however that is, makes them feel some sort of way, feel good, how is that not a loving expression?
You're absolutely right.
Not that what I do has anything to do with love, but just, again, to be able to come to me and splay yourself open and say, this is what I need in my life, and I need you to fulfill it for me. and you negotiate that and add that to a payroll dynamic, and just be like, put me on monthly because this is going to be fucking expensive and probably, and just feel secure in it. Once you feel that security, then it just, again, it can flow how it needs to flow, go where it needs to go, and the person can, have that part of themselves taken care of.
And I think that goes to like people not being able to understand that does that for them. They still look at it as negative rather than.
I'll say this, that a lot of your guys' experience, again, too, comes from a very heteronormative.
Sure.
A lot of the gay world has been doing this for way longer. They have it all they have it pretty figured out as to, okay, I'm into this. I'm either going to disclose it to my partner, or I know there's a spot on the internet for it,
or I'll find it. So again, there is, and it's very interesting that there is such a split within that so much more of the FinDom world you see in the gay segment and not the
the goddesses, the fucking girls that are doing it. I mean, it just, everybody's doing it. It just, that's the thing. It just, it's always, to be fair, the women were making money at it probably first before men. But the what is it, the archetype, I guess I'll use the word, the archetype of the hustler has always been around in the gay world. Like, there's always been that smooth talker that wanted to get you out of your money, so it just, and using his sexuality to kind of do that. So it just, there's no, I guess, archetype or spirit of that within the straight world. Like, there's no, there's no charming little sexy guy that, that's just, that, whatever the fuck that is. I mean, we have satyrs, we have, Pan, we have all these little mischievous little nymphs and fucking whatever, but there's nobody that makes you fucking worried that their sexuality is going to rob you of your money.
Yeah.
So it's just why not? Why the fuck not? Why do I have to keep that in the fucking gay world? Why do I have to, it just, you learn so much from going back and forth to the different places, and again, I love telling heteronormative swingers about what I've learned in the gay world and what you can walk away from, and just be look, this is what you can do, is just be honest with each other, be real with each other, be free with each other. And I love telling people that, and seeing the conversation that develops afterwards and hearing that, things went better for them because they had that conversation.
Yeah, and the openness and everything. And two, as we have that, I mean, something that just, again, kind of something that just hit me in that swingers world, as the kink and fetish was always separated. Well, there was always a separation of straight and gay men. I mean, there is a club around us that literally says right in their things, there is zero male-to-male contact within the club. There is another one that is open to that, and they've more labeled themselves as an alternative sex club, and there's a lot of more males, and there's
more of a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's not swingers, but in that swinger world, I mean, there is woman on woman is fine. That's encouraged.
The toxicity that exists within that system that needs to be, because that's the thing too. It just, what it takes sometimes, again, is a guy like me to come through and be like, nah, I don't want to fuck your husband, I just want to make him cry. And it just again, I have been to Hito numerous times, and it just, having the conversation with swingers has opened people up to their kinks, their fetishes. I guess that is going to be my place within that, to be that, and it just like, if you want to know more, you can find me on fucking whatever, just like, because it just, there has to be a liaison. There has to be somebody that like educates them, and I'd love to do that more, because swingers are just, those are my people.
Yeah, and again, you're right. They just need to, have some more openness, and we did actually last week's interview. We went down through one of the swinger sites, and there was a huge forum post, and it discussed the increase of bi male profiles. And
even the male halves of couples actually listing themselves as bi, as that's what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Not so much single bi males, but the increase in male halves of couples listing themselves as bi on their profiles.
Well, it's going to be a matter of however many people it takes to dismantle that system and stop putting it in your category, or just make it clear that queer encompasses everybody at this point, and we're all just fucking queer. I don't know what that's going to take, but there's a lot of good old boy thinking that still happens a lot in the swinger world.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So, what goes into planning one of your sessions, one of your scenes with one of your clients? Someone reaches out. How do they reach out? And then what does that process look like?
First question I always ask anybody is, what can you do for me? I don't really, I can't have fantasy projected on me, which is kind of, there's no time for that. We can get to the fantasy of it before we get to the reality of it quickly. What's in it for me? What is my long-term looking like on this? What are we doing? And the risks associated with what it is that we're doing. I play risk aware, so all it's fair. Just we're going to talk about the intent. We're going to talk about what I want to do to you within the confines of what I've heard you tell me you want to do. And again, when you're dealing with emotional masochists, it's not like picking out a cane or a whip or a flogger to be ooh, they like stingy but not too stingy, and they like thuddy but not too thuddy. You're dealing with people that, again, shame and guilt are on the top, and then anything tertiary and secondary and whatever to that is going to be feeling systems around, what do you want to feel? What do you want to get from this? Because sometimes they're far, far away from me. And again, just to get them to feel something, just to get them to, that's what we're playing with. And if it's you admitting to a total stranger that you are inferior, you are degenerate, you are perverted, whatever it is, and the need to subscribe to this system needs you to pay money, needs that to be the extension of it, to kind of hurt a little bit, to sting a little bit more, self-loathing mixed in there, self-internalized homophobia in there, shake, stir, pour, serve, whatever it is, and it just, again, deeper questions past that are, why are we doing this? What is this fulfilling in your life? What's the other half of you look like that isn't doing this all the fucking time? Because from what I can tell, you're doing this all the fucking time. It's weird too, again, because these different areas, thanks to Twitter and thanks to culture, I'll just say thanks to culture, that exist within FinDom now, again, it's the gooners, the people that just want endless hours of just nothing but masturbation and nothing but just depravity and blowing their circuits on fucking porn. Like, it's all linked. It's coming back to FinDom. It's coming back to that part too. So it just, again, it's weird to see it go there, but also like watching influencers on like streaming sites, like they're literally telling people to send them money. However that money is taking shape, even if it's a little dinky little flower, you're still ordering people to send you something that is redeemable for money, and you have people doing your bidding constantly for bigger and bigger and bigger gifts. So it's like, there are so many different weird ways how FinDom is kind of incorporating itself into the real world. So again, how I do it, through Risk Aware, through talking about really fucked up and crazy emotions with people, nobody's doing it that way. Nobody, everybody thinks that there's a pay pig out there that wants to serve them and, to some capacity. Everybody'd like to believe that, but the care and feeding of a pay pig is fucking like, have you raised pigs? I've never raised pigs, but this is probably similar.
Well, and what you just said, and I never until that. Now, yes, you're without a doubt the influencers that aren't doing this sexually, anything like that. They're on the IG, they're on these social media platforms, and hey, look at me. All right, $5 is still FinDom. I mean, so it literally it is everywhere. It is running the world.
You have still influenced someone to send you money on a whim.
Yeah, it's just not in this arena that we're talking about here. That people are like, "Oh God, that's disgusting. How can you do that? That's so terrible. That's so wrong." No, everybody's freaking doing it. At the end of the day, in this arena, that sub who is sending money is getting something out of their money.
For me, yes. Again, I can't speak for anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
For my living is so varied. There are so many people doing this now.
Yes.
Just in my experience, in my field of expertise, the thing they are paying for is that feelings-based experience.
Yes. Yes, that you are offering and giving them. So essentially, yeah, those influencers, they're just taking a picture of them walking down Fifth Avenue.
There's FinDoms doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. And it's a fun way to boost your ego. It's a fun way to boost your, kind of what you're worth and figure out what you're worth. And, but that's sex work. Like, I encourage anybody to find out what their worth is worth, through sex work. It's very empowering. It can be very empowering, if done right. And even if you make just $5 doing it, it's $5 more than you had before, like what? And it shows you what it's like to live that life, so you can then tell your friends that sex work is work, because everybody thinks it's easy. Everybody thinks it's fucking, but it's not. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, there's a lot of time invested. There's things, that are go on behind the scenes that the end user and purchaser does not see. And from your side, as you just kind of described, the questions, the look, there is that want to know, how does this work for all of us? Because here's what it's worth for me, but what are you looking for? Why are you approaching this? And then that professional thought process goes into building the scene.
Well, as well, like, once the person is able to, like, free themselves of what it is that they really ultimately need.
Yeah.
whatever it is that I'm performing, like, I look damn good doing it. You know, like, I look pretty. Like, it's all on how willing you are to open your mouth and tell me what it is, like, so I can take that, mile from the centimeter that you've given me. I mean, it just sometimes, if it's extracting information from people, that's a big, probably, yeah, I mean, that's a no for me, dog. But there is some credence that I give to people's, again, like, hey, we've gotten to this point that you can now say that you're an emotional masochist. Whether or not you know what emotions you want to play with, you can now find identity within that. Now go free. Like, you learn something from this 5-minute interaction.
Yeah.
That, because again, I don't want to deal with the people that just blindly do what they do. I mean, just anybody can send a tribute, like,
yeah,
it could hurt. It could hurt. Like, for me, I don't do camming. I don't do any of these other forms of sex work that most people are doing. And again, the Kelly Blue Book on a tribute, what should a tribute be? What should an initial tribute be for your FinDom? Like, there is no basis.
No.
And nobody's sharing information about what that looks like because everybody's out for their own nut. Everybody's out for their own whatever. Nobody's mentoring anybody. Nobody's helping anybody. We're all just in it for ourselves. And it's the Wild West. Getting to be on Twitter at this point of it all, it just kind of, if this goes tits up, then that was a really nice run. I don't think we will ever have that level of free speech influence. Yeah. It's such a massive, again, vacuum that you can just put in, new bag and fucking run around the room. The right caption, the right picture will set the internet on fire, as always. And I try to, like, you look at my feed versus the average FinDom's feed, and it is wildly, we are not the same. And I pride myself on that because anybody that's in that algorithm is going to see their share of hate speech, their share of feet, their share of MAGA, their share of whatever, whatever it is we're fetishizing in that fucking little section of the internet that appeals to people's deep-seated hate, deep-seated, just self-loathing, whatever it is. And it just, once you come clean with the fact that you're speaking to someone's self-loathing, that they need to feel hated, they need to feel oppressed, they need to feel persecuted, at the end of the day, you're just a dumbass wearing a MAGA hat. Like, this isn't domination. This is stand and model. And you're not even claiming to fetishize. You're not even this is, like, yes, you're speaking to people's like, the people that are into that level of emotional masochism really own it. Like, it's a real part of who they are.
Yeah.
You can't say fetishization of it because it is really a part of who they are. And it just, that's the part that the average onlooker would just be like, what the fuck is going on here? Because, these are parts that the BDSM world doesn't even sign off on. Like, the BDSM world kind of like says, we support everything and your kink is okay. Your kink is not my kink and that's okay. But things like race play, things like hate play, things like the real hardcore shit that I've done, like, they do not sign off on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Like, why am I going to be the martyr for all that? Why am I going to be the person that, like, has to take your vitriol because you don't like how I play? When I'm being clear with everybody involved what it is that I'm going to do with them. Like, people told me back then, they were like, there is no financial domination. Sick people give their money to strangers. Nobody in their right mind would give their money to a stranger. That is not BDSM. And there's a lot of BDSM communities that still believe that. that this doesn't take skill, this doesn't take any type of anything, and it is exploitative and speaks to people's addictions.
And I think there is that part of it from the inexperienced, the unknowledgeable, the that it's not planned out, the uneducated, to where if, again, this is part of that kink and fetish where both sides get off, for lack of better terms. So essentially from your end,
that's the kicker. That's the kicker, because again, like, pros are not seen as figureheads within the BDSM community. So for us to have, like, where does the average person hear about FinDom and go educate themselves about FinDom? Twitter, Tumblr, like sites that fetishize the fetish. Like, it just, you're not,
which is wrong.
Picture. And again, like, they don't want to hear our stories. They don't want to hear like what we're doing, because again, we're catering to people. There's enough of this toxic Ethereum, trope, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to all the time with it.
Yeah. And that's where it is being missed again from that side. And I don't know that you, from the standpoint of the FinDom, that is so much the online world that you're not going to a club and seeing that. As you have said before, you go to a munch. You can't have those conversations here. That's disrespectful. Sure, it is, and so that, therefore, my first thought is why it isn't accepted is because you don't see it in that every day. It's on the internet world. So, so therefore, is that why it is shunned? Because you don't. But then again, how do you see it in the everyday world? If you go to a munch, you don't do it, so you don't see it. It's not there.
You don't go to munches to see it. You don't.
Yeah.
Again, I think that people removing the stigma. I mean, there's a lot of old school FinDoms, the women, that are now kind of coming into their own and teaching master classes on it. So, okay. I mean, that's nothing there. But again, it only appeals to other aspiring FinDoms. All you're doing is perpetuating whatever it is, and it just, again, you can't teach anyone to care about someone's emotions that deeply that you want to fetishize them and play with them. Again,
either you have it or you don't when it comes to that part of your DNA.
Right.
It's either there or not. Yeah, anybody can be taught to say a few things and take money.
Right. And that speaks more to how stupid men are than anything. Yeah. I mean, it just...
So as we kind of wind down, I guess next one question, as we've talked about this, and we've talked about the fetish world and all that stuff in the past, is there, in what you do, a quote unquote aftercare?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because that is always something within that kind of BDSM and fetish world. They always talk about that. After a scene, there's aftercare.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to stay with the person through the process of the transaction. You're not just, again, if they want to feel exploited, they want to feel ripped off, then claim rip-off fetish. Claim some fetish you have within that makes that legitimate for me to take the money and run. Because if you've used your words to this point, then there should be no reason why you can't use your words to tell me what it is about this that you're getting off on. The aftercare for most, again, staying with them for the transaction. Stay with them till the credit card bill comes. Stay with them, listen to what they have to say about how they feel, because you're playing with feelings. You're playing with fear. You're playing with, a lot of things when you do this stuff. you know, and money means a lot to a lot of people. So I think that for the bottom, we'll just say the bottom in it, yeah, staying with them until the credit card bill comes, and really just comfort that, you know, they did the right thing. It's, you know, until they know that what they're giving their money to is legitimately going to make your life better, or what your altruistic nature is to do with their money at the end of the day, you know, I think a lot of people have built that into their FinDom personas of giving real clear definition around, you know, you're supporting a brat, you're supporting, you know, like whatever archetype, whatever trope it is that you're heading, what you need to give your money to, you know, what you want to give your money to, what you consensually give your money to, you know, like that need is so different case by case too, you know?
Sure.
Again, the psychological aftercare of just reassurance that, you know, they did good and they did right and they did, you know, this is, you know, all the things.
And again, I think, you know, wanted to ask that question again because it is so much, you hear that across the board, and that reinforces what you said, that kind of emotional connection and doing it right and being the professional about it. And not just take the money and run. Thanks. See ya.
Well, right. And reminding people how special they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, too. Like, it just, like, you were able to just go somewhere that, like, most people can't do. Like, you just scaled a wall that, like, recognition of that should be given.
Yeah, the reinforcement to feel good. Yeah.
You know, because again, a lot of this is feelings based. So to take a man to tears and get him broken down to that level and holding space for that is another more intimidating in a lot of situations, man. You know, and just be like, yeah, cry it the fuck out. You know, like, this is why you're here. You wanted this brought to the surface. You wanted this exposed. You wanted this, you know, felt. And it just, I mean, really, anybody that can get to that point and say those, you know, like what they need, what they want, what they require for the best, you know, part of their life, for the balance, you know, and just wherever that comes from. You know, and being able to share that space with those people and be the intimate tour guide of their psyches, of their subconsciouses, of their, you know, them letting me in, that, you know, that's sacred space.
Yeah.
It's just like, I believe how sacred it is. I show reverence to what it is that we're doing, you know, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. There's plenty of people that don't do it the way I do, and plenty of people that do it different, and we're all just kind of, again, just floating along, trying to make our way at this point, whatever platform we're using to do it, you know.
And that's the way of the world. Look, there's plenty of fish in the sea, and you know what, everybody's a little different and needs something a little bit different. This is the way it is for you. You've, again, the length of time you've been within this community, within the sex work business, it's over 20 years is a long time in this business being successful. It says a lot to you, the person you are, the care you have for others, everything about it.
Even if you're fetishizing no care at all. That's the ironic thing. Like, people want to take such risky moves with me and just, like, do this stuff. It's like, damn, we are building trust and fucking really getting to know each other real fast, real quick. Because this is just, it's on, you know?
Yeah. It's a very interesting side of the industry. that not a lot of people are familiar with. As you said, I think people are probably more familiar with the female FinDoms out there. And I think because you see them in leather thigh-high boots, and they have the look about them. And
you're talking about an archetype of the dominatrix.
Exactly.
Right.
Dominatrixes of the world were generally, again, a facet of sex work that you went to these women to submit to their power, to focus on fetishes. Like, they were the people that knew about that, to the point that they could brazenly charge for it and just be like, you know what, I am a commanding presence and I never once wanted to work in the 9 to 5. I'm just going to take what's mine. I'm going to undermine capitalism, and I'm going to take what the fuck is mine, and I'm not building my enterprise on anybody's back. People are supporting my enterprise because they see the ingenuity in what I do. They see the fucking just wide-eyed enthusiasm I have for the obscene and subversive, and, you know, there's performance within it, there's artistic creativity within it, there's just social norms being busted. I mean, it's so wonderful to be in a place that doesn't conform to anything.
Yeah. And the passion and everything throughout this interview, it shows that you truly enjoy, you care, everything about with what you're doing. That really resonates, and it did through this whole conversation we've had. Again, it resonates through your years successful within the sex worker community. Wishing nothing but continued success, continued growth in what you're doing. And before we go, can you let the listeners know, where can they find you? We talked a lot about Twitter, on social medias.
At all for Arch on Twitter, at all things Arch on Patreon, and Elemental Kink on Instagram, at Elemental Kink. And it's all in my link tree. I have it on my Twitter profile,
on the Twitter page. Yeah. So yeah, just go to Twitter. We will have the Twitter link. We'll have the Twitter handle within the show notes when this launches. So listeners can just can grab it there and go there and hit up the link tree. But again, I can't thank you enough for the time. Truly informational. To really dig into this. Great getting to know you and everything that you're doing and have done. So again, best of luck to you as you continue forward. And so, who knows? Maybe our paths will cross at some point down the road sometime.
You could only hope that our paths will cross down the line to see what it is that goes on when it. I hope so, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. Well, cool. We'll have a great night. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you as well.